Yoade, you are highly welcome, sir. We are still expecting the provost. Thank you very much. We are still expecting the provost of the College of Health Sciences, Professor Petuga. Also, the dean of Basic Medical, she's yet to be around. When she comes around, we will introduce her. And I really want to thank and welcome the guest lecturer. He has been here seated, the wife. We really appreciate you for coming, and I know we're going to enjoy and learn something good from you. And the person is Dr. Lulu and his wife, Mrs. Bridget Ojo. You are highly welcome. Well, I want to welcome the lecturers here. I want to start with Professor Bakri of the Department of Pharmaceutics. Thank you. Professor Bamiro also. Dr. Adesoya from the Department of Pharmacognosy. The Secretary of the Dean, you're welcome. Our great students, great pansites. Great pansites. Greatest of the greatest pansites. You are unique. And please appreciate yourself for coming, please. Having done that, I want to start the program, and we'll start with the national anthem, the university anthem, and the pharmacy anthem. Thank you.
Our
Thank you very much. You can have your seat. Please, students who want to enjoy it, to please move to the front side. Please, 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 move to the front side. Please, please. We want to officially recognize our guests and other dignitaries here present. And the chief host of this event is no other person than the Vice Chancellor of this great university, who is not here present now, but he is Professor Ayodeji Olayinka Johnson Agboola. He is the Vice Chancellor of this great university and the chief host. Also, the host of this lecture is no other person than the first citizen of this faculty, the Dean of our faculty, Professor L.S. Kazim. You're welcome. The Dean of Clinical Sciences, I've mentioned his name before, but I want to officially welcome him again. In no other person than Professor Ayoade. You are welcome, sir. The guest lecturer for today, Dr. Lulu Ojo. You are highly welcome. Very soon, his dissertation is going to be read, and you know more about him. He's also here with his amiable wife, Mrs. Bridget Ojo. You are highly welcome too, ma'am. I want to welcome and invite the HOD of the Department of Pharmaceutics, Professor Bakre, to the high table. So let's appreciate him. Also, we have Dr. Oyinoye, the head of the Department of Pharmacology. We want to welcome you to the high table too. When others come around, I will introduce everybody. I have introduced some of our lecturers too. Dr. Adesanya Pharmacognosy, you are highly welcome once again. The Sub-Dean of the faculty, Dr. S.A. Saka, who is the chairman, planning committee of this lecture, you are highly welcome too. Our great students, once again, you are highly welcome. Knowing fully well that you are preparing for exam at this and you've now honored this invitation, we really appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming. Professor Bamiro, may I please come to the high table? Thank you very much. When other lecturers come around, especially the HODs, we will recognize them. I also want to recognize the technologists here, the non-teaching staff, and everybody here present, the friends of pharmacy. God bless you for coming, and the whole thing will start very soon. And I want to welcome the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy to give the welcome address. Thank you.
The Vice Chancellor of Olabisi Onabanjo University, Professor Ayodeji Johnson Agboola, then Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academics, Professor Olatundu Abosede Oderinde, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Dapo Olubomehin, the Dean here seated, Professor Ayoade is the Dean of Clinical Science. All professors here seated, the HOD here present, all lecturers that are here, our guest speaker today with his amiable wife, Dr. Lulu Ojo. We thank God Almighty for granting us another privilege to hold our second annual lecture tagged "The Practice and Prospects of Industrial Pharmacy." Pharmacy offers a range of unique career opportunities for pharmacists, enabling them to pursue their passion. We have academic pharmacists, we have hospital pharmacists, we have regulatory pharmacists, and other specialties. Last year, we had very educative lecture also that was delivered by NAFDAC, the Director General of NAFDAC. This year, which is a regulatory body, but this year we have invited a guru in industrial setting, and he is going to tell us what are available in industrial pharmacy. He has been in industrial setting for many years, and we are going to benefit a lot from the wealth of knowledge that he has acquired over years. So I want to welcome all of you for being here and happy listening. Thank you.
I also appreciate the Dean for that address. You can do better. The Vice Chancellor is not around, and we will go to the next agenda on the program, and that is the introduction of the guest speaker and the citation. I want to humbly invite Professor Bamiro to read the citation of our guest speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ololu, can you please? Thank you. I'll try and see how well I can do justice to this because I was just told some few minutes ago. So Dr. Ololu Ojo is a founder and chief executive officer of Merit Healthcare, a pharmaceutical importation, distribution, and marketing company. He studied pharmacy at the University of Ife, graduated in 1984 with a second-class upper in pharmacy, a degree in business administration in 1991, PharmD degree in 2009, and the fellowship of the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists in 2009. And he also had a diploma in theology in 2017. So I can say he's a reverend. He is a fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, fellow of Nigerian Academy of Pharmacy, fellow Courier and Logistics Management Institute, fellow of Professional Excellence Foundation, and fellow of the Pharmaceutical Sales and Marketing of Nigeria. So you can see he's a fellow of so many professions. Dr. Ololu Ojo is an astute manager of human and managerial resources. And like I said, he completed his tertiary education in 1984 before joining the hospital and community pharmacist. He had a stint in academia too, but I don't know the university. And he rose through the rank in marketing and became the marketing manager in 1997. He left Roche in 2000 to join Coca-Cola Nigeria. And he was the sales marketing director in 2005. Before he now left that employment to start his own business Merit Healthcare Limited, and he has about 40 Nigerians in his employment. Dr. Lolu Ojo is a social worker, and he has served the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria in different capacities, starting as president of the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigerian Students, PANS, in 1984. He has always been in politics, a politician to the core. He served as the national chairman, Association of Industrial Pharmacists, between 2009 and 2013, chairman, National Drug Distribution Committee, 2013 to 2014, pioneer managing director, Ultra Logistics Company, a mega drug distribution company that was conceived and nurtured by him to sanitize drug distribution in Nigeria, and chairman of the 2008 and 2017 National Conference Planning Committee of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. The convener and co-convener of Alliance for Greater Pharmacy in Nigeria, Pharmacy Career Advancement Group, and Icons of Pharmacy Group, all platforms dedicated to the progress and development of pharmacy in Nigeria. Apart from pharmacy, he is also the president of Laura Baptist Grammar School Students Association, chairman of Akinsoya Oriade Community Development Association, secretary of the Presbytery Sunday School Teacher, and chairman building committee of the Apostolic Church Isolo Assembly. Dr. Lolu Ojo is an avid reader and writer. He has published many articles which you can find online in national newspapers and pharmaceutical journals. His favorite subjects include pharmacy affairs, education, business, healthcare, religion, and politics. Dr. Lolu Ojo has received many awards and recognition for his contribution to the growth and development of pharmaceutical industry and pharmacy profession in Nigeria. He is a recipient of Merit Award from the Lagos, then former Bendel State, Ogun, and Ekiti State branches of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Distinguished Service and Eminent Persons Award of the Association of Industrial Pharmacists, and many more. Dr. Lolu Ojo is married to his beautiful wife, Mrs. Bridget Ojo, and they are blessed with 5 children, and is also a grandfather in the making, already a grandfather. So I want you all to welcome Dr. Lolu Ojo, a politician to the core.
Vice Chancellor in absentia, because Dr. Kazim told me the Vice Chancellor will be here. So I want to believe he's coming, or his representative. The Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy, my dear friend, Professor Kazim. The Dean of Clinical Sciences, Professor Ayuade Kemisoale, and I appreciate that. Distinguished and lecturers in the faculty, the students of Faculty of Pharmacy, PANS, Mrs. Bridget Ojo, who I fondly call Ma Brigito. The preparation for this lecture was a joint one, because as I was preparing, she was always by my side. And I'm happy that you are here. Please give her a round of applause. Our colleagues on online, and I've seen the distinguished gentleman, Manuel Omere from the United States. It's online. a fellow of Nigeria Academy of Pharmacy, and a distinguished, I think president, I'm not sure now, Emmanuel, if I'm wrong, pardon me, of NAPSA, which is the Association of Pharmacists and Pharmaceutical Scientists in United States of America. I'm so surprised to see him online before I left the table there. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be here, and I thank God that I'm here, especially when I got to know that this is the second in the series of the faculty lecture, and that the first one was addressed by the DG. So me addressing the second one is an honor that I do not take lightly. I want to thank my friend, Professor Kazim, for making this possible. He's a very smart professor. Very, very smart. I had an issue to discuss with him, and I took that issue up with him. In fact, before I mentioned my issue, he said, you are going to be our lecturer. I said, Professor Kazim, is this the way to invite me to be lecturer? Because I'm the one who called you. Somehow we started that discussion, and to God be the glory, I'm here. I'm not taking the honor for granted. I quite appreciate your calling me. I'm not so far from the faculty, not so far, I would say. Professor Bamiro, who read my citation, we've been talking somehow, particularly when it comes to some activities of the academy. By now, I expect Prof to be a fellow of the academy. I don't know, Prof, whether we talk about that offline, but we've been talking. Prof, you said I'm a politician. No, I'm not. I'm a social worker. And I told you I've served pharmacy all my adult life. That's the truth. Because like I told you, I started off in 1984. In 1980, just 2 weeks after I entered the campus as the assistant PRO of PAMS. I won with 1 vote. And guess what? It is this 1 vote that made me discover my calling, which is service. Yes, service. You cannot say you are successful until you can count the number of people that have been successful through you. That is my definition. So you are successful, but your rating will be how many people, how many others have been successful through you. That is what that 1 vote had done for me. And that is why you will see in my resume that I'm always in one service line or the other. In fact, at a point, I thought I'm stretching this so much, but the Lord is my strength, as He is your strength too. Okay, today we are to talk about the practice and prospects of industrial pharmacy. And it's a good time to talk about this because a lot of things are happening in that space which you need to know. Both my colleagues who are working here as lecturers or staff of the faculty, the young pharmacists among them, and more importantly, the pharmacists in embryo. Because you need to know that you are coming into a truly noble profession with diversified opportunities. So, if we, in the time allowed, because I asked my friend Professor Kazim, what's the time you are going to give me? He said, yes, I can speak for 1 hour. I said, 1 hour standing, I'm speaking. He said, okay, 45 minutes. I said, okay, don't worry, Prof. What you have told me is that I have the latitude to speak as much as what I've prepared for this lecture. So I will not be speaking for 1 hour. But whatever time I'm going to use is to stimulate your interest in the subject so that you can find out more. That is what I've been doing since 1988, articulating my point of view in order to get my audience to be interested in my subject. So, in the time that we will use, we'll be looking at introduction. That is, let's have some understanding of what industrial pharmacy is. We look at evolution. How has the industrial pharmacy or pharmaceutical industry itself evolved over the year? What are the current practices? What are the challenges of the industrial pharmacy, pharmaceutical industry? You see, at times when we say industrial pharmacy, we're talking about pharmaceutical industry. They are not necessarily the same, but at least for the purpose of this discussion, let's take them as if they are the same. We look at the economic and public health significance of the pharmaceutical industry or industrial pharmacy as it will be. Let's look at the prospects, because that is the part of the lecture. Now, we are in the academic environment, so we need to know what should be or what is the role of the academia. And this will be a real practical discussion, within this hall. And we'll conclude. So let's start with the introduction. It's a very simple one. The focus of industrial pharmacy is on drug development, manufacturing, quality assurance, distribution. And I am taking marketing and sales as an important part of this. And when we get to the scope, I will discuss more on that. Marketing and sales, regulatory affairs, supply chain, these are area of this specialized part of pharmacy. And the role, if you want to describe it and just pinpoint, is to transform research into accessible medicine. And that is why I said the role of the academia will become very important as we move on. The role is to transform research into accessible medicine, because that is the real thing. We may not be doing much of that here, but that is what our aspirations should be. That's the goal. The overarching goal of the pharmaceutical industry is to ensure the availability of safe, effective, and affordable medicine by integrating science, technology, and regulation. Integrating science, and you need to pick that point and underline it. And where is the science of pharmacy being taught, being incubated, being expanded, if not at the faculty of pharmacy? So we move on to evolution. What has been the growth of industrial pharmacy in Nigeria? And this will take on pharmacy itself. And we start with the pre-independence era. The pre-independence era is dominated by people bringing drugs in because it is needed. And all manner of people, particularly those who came in as physicians, nurses, they bring in their drugs alike to use. Until no indigenous manufacturing, takes place as at that point. Import dependent, just bring them in, everything. But this does not mean we don't have our own homegrown remedy, because our fathers, they have a way of treating disease. Because the herbalists that we so much disturbed or not so much happy with now, they are physicians, pharmacists, and everything combined. Yes. They diagnose what is wrong with you, whatever, either through extraterrestrial means or something, and they decide that this is the drug you will use. And what would they do? They will go use pick barks, pick leaves, do concussion. And when I was young, it would not be a good thing that you will be entertained whenever you go to greet anybody. It's a go. I don't know who are the people in that generation. Immediately you finish greeting and you want to go, come and take a go. And we take a go, whether you like it or not. We are not falling sick like you do now. So that is what we were using that time. Now, between 1960 and 1980, which is the post-independent era, then you have some manufacturing taking place. Why? Because policy of government was at that time aimed at import substitution. So you have some manufacturing taking place. Me and Baker was there since some years back. Then, in fact, by mid-1980, it was thought that approximately 60% of the medicine that we are using were locally produced. Now, let's go back to 1990 to the 2000s and whatever. There was a decline. And what was responsible for that decline? Economic policies. Import license. Now, I was a participant at this stage. I didn't know much. Not that maybe the second stage I was there, but I didn't know much. But from 1990s to 2000, I was a participant. Import license, those who do not even know anything about drugs were given import license and they were selling it, and you see all manner of things coming. The economy changed, things changed completely. At a time, $1 was less than 1 naira. But during this period, the things started moving. I have all the graph, but time will not allow us to go through this. But what we need to know is that at that point, the multinationals started leaving. Yeah, the multinationals started leaving. In fact, the company I was working for then, Roche Nigeria Limited, left. So the factory, they only came back now as a scientific office, but the factory was sold. And that factory has been sold 2 times after that. Just showing the different economic impact on what is happening to us. Now, what we didn't know with the exit of these multinationals is that they went with their practices too. When I joined Roche as a medical representative in 1988, this company, and just like every other one, they will not even allow you to go to the field without proper training. So for 1 month, we'll be under training, moving from one place to the other. In fact, there was a company, I think Glaxo, they will take them abroad to go and see what others are doing before they bring them back, to now start their own job. When they left with all those ones. And the ones that we have after that replace them are people that are not so much interested in that capacity development. And that is what you have today, all manners of people in this system. Now from 2010 to present, we can say we have some recovery and some growth because things start changing. Regulatory bodies like NAFDAC, they started doing things, particularly now, and we have to give it to the current DG. Some of the policies may not be so friendly, so favorable in terms of the cost, in terms of but there is a decided drive towards local production. The NAFDAC is moving towards local production, so it may not be so palatable to hear, everybody's here, but that's the truth. In actual fact, one of the meetings that we had, and the DG was there, and people were asking for relaxation of this, cancellation of that, and stuff like that, and the dynamic lady stood her ground and said, this is the way to go. When she left, I had to tell my colleagues, come, NAFDAC is doing what it is created to do. So, you may not like it, but that is its purpose. And it has to continue that way. So, things are working little by little. COVID-19 taught us lessons that we should have learned long before now. Because during that period, at the peak of the impact of COVID-19, we can't even get some drugs. Because we say 70% of our national consumption is imported. 70% of that 70% is from India. And India said, hey, we are taking care of our local need, so we cannot send you import. It's not something hidden. There were publications, there were directives, there were releases to show it. So we are vulnerable. Where do we get our drugs? And when people are sick, where is the remedy for them? So COVID-19 taught us that. And you can see that drive up till today towards local production. But the truth of the matter is 70% of our medicines consumed in Nigeria are still imported from different sources. NAFDAC said it has changed. It's now 60% or what. Well, the good thing, we have issues with statistics. And I want us to know this, particularly my colleagues in the academia. There are gaps that can be filled by you, whose job is to check things. And one of those gaps is statistics. You don't have statistics. And when you are doing marketing without data, I told people, it's like you are going to Benin from Lagos by 9 p.m. without your headlamp. That's it. We need data for so many things. So all we do is, hey, it should be like this, hey, it should be like this. But this data, they are available and can be mined. Professor Kassim, Professor Bamiru, these are things that can be done from the academy. There can be a partnership between the faculty and NAFDAC. Because the idea, why? Each time we want to do any importation, we have our Form M. Yes, we have our Form M. It can be mined from NAFDAC, it can be mined from custom. The data are available, but they can be mined. So let's take it for the purpose of argument that 70% of our national consumption is actually imported. So let's look at the current practice. About 130 plus, maybe about 160, because NAFDAC is doing a good job of checking. For NAFDAC to be able to compete, or for Nigeria to have that kind of reputation that can make donor agencies to come and manufacture here, there are certain standards that we must meet. And NAFDAC is pursuing that standard. Therefore, if you're a manufacturer in Nigeria today, you must have passed through some process in NAFDAC before you can just use your room and start manufacturing. But now, no. There are standards that must be maintained. So we have about 130 to 160. I've said over 70% of drugs that we use are imported. This is not a problem. This is opportunity. That's the truth. And when we get there, I'm going to mention a little about it. The market value of, okay, I think I will leave that to my point here. You have production, you have quality assurance, regulatory affairs, supply chain management, research and development. In actual fact, if I'm going to rearrange in order of priority, I will put research and development as number one. In production, you have formulation, you have manufacturing, and we need to note now that manufacturing is a subset of production, because production deals with both tangible and intangibles, whereas manufacturing is simple converting input raw materials into finished products. That's what manufacturing is all about. And in manufacturing, what we have, what we know, and what we are familiar with is batch production. But now there is continuous manufacturing. If time permits us, I can say a little thing about continuous manufacturing. Under production, you have packaging and labeling, you have storage, and also. We have, I'm talking now about scope of industrial premises. We have analytical and country control. Here, you test the raw material before you use it. In process, you test. While the process is ongoing, you still go and take sample to ensure that what needs to be done is done. And the finished good itself, you test. And in the actual fact, you will have retained sample. You have retained sample, which you can still test to see whether it's going on. Then you have to go to the market and pick samples to test whether the stability test that you conducted is actually real when you have what you have tested before you sent it out. I've told you about research and development, and here so many things that's supposed to be done: product development, new molecule development, and I kept on saying it again. I'm coming back to my colleagues in the academics. I was with some colleagues, professors, many of them were not professors when we left school together, and there are so many professors now. And I said, look, dear man, I mean, how come we've not had as much new molecules that can be our own contribution to the world body of knowledge? Because that is it. Yes, in basic science you are making contribution, but in terms of applied research, we need to do more. We could have some other molecules that can be adjusted in order to do more work or to do new work and stuff like that. Then formulations, clinical trials, standardization. And in the traditional medicine, cultivation and analysis of medicinal plants. Marketing and sales, for which I have been these years. Do market research, business and product development, product management. We do schemes, we do promotion, all to pass our message to our Professor Ayode and his colleagues, in their clinics, everywhere they have. So that's our subject, or they are our own number one contact in this business. Then supply chain. Supply chain is longer than what we think. There's planning, there is sourcing, there is warehousing and logistics. These have become specialty. So even after your pharmacy degree, you could take some courses in supply chain and become a subject matter expert, and you will find the accommodation within the system. If you look to your right on the screen, you will see that diagram with pharmacy in the center, and around it have subspecialty. What you can do, everywhere. Community pharmacy, pharmaceutical education, like my colleagues at the faculty, wholesale and community, we join them together now, as it is today. Then industrial pharmacies, drug control and administration, that's NAFDA, PCN, so many places that you can work. Health system pharmacy, that is in hospital, our colleagues in the hospital, and on, and so on and so forth. So we can move on. Let's look at the challenges of pharmaceutical industry as it is today. Well, we call it challenges, and I want you to know that, not barrier. And I used to tell people, don't be afraid of challenges or challenge. It's only a bus stop in Ibadan. When you hear challenge, is it not? It's just a bus stop in Ibadan. And we have one in Lagos. Oh, there is one in Ilorin. So why should you be afraid of challenge? You only get there, it's your bus stop. If it is not your bus stop, you move on. So the point I'm making it, we should not take it as a barrier. Rather, we should look at it as opportunities. Because if you take it as a barrier, then it blocks your vision. You won't be able to see. You won't be able to cross. It's like elephant, as big as it can be. If from his young age is tied to a stake, and that is what it is every time, tied to a stake. Even when it becomes that mammoth, it will still be afraid of that stake, because his life is conditioned to that stake. That is it. So I want to plead with all of us, particularly the students here. There will be challenges, because you can be successful until you can mention those challenges met. It's a challengement. A venture tried, a challengement, a feature that you embrace is successful if only it makes the world a better place to live. So when you have a challenge, the question is, how do I move around? But I can tell you there are challenges that the industry faces. And the bigger part of it is infrastructural deficit. Even me, I'm not producing now, but I know how much we spend on diesel to keep the office running. To keep the office running. It's crazy. And so many other things like that. High cost of raw materials is even worse now because of the next step, which is foreign exchange scarcity. Limited R&D activity. When I was coming from the Dean's office, I was telling him, because he was telling me about challenges too, running the faculty and stuff like that. I said, okay, we need to interact more to be able to find a way around the challenge. But yes, you look to the industry. Don't let your expectations be close to reality. Because most of the companies that you see, they actually having existential battle. They engage in existential battle, how to survive. because of the trouble of the system right now. Regulatory and workforce challenge. I will talk more about workforce challenge, but regulatory, yes, things are getting tougher, particularly from NAFDAC. NAFDAC is insisting that you have to conform with best practices, and it's making things tougher, and certainly people are resisting. But hey, the NAFDAC know where it is going, and it wants to go there. Now let's look at human capital deficit. And this is where I need to speak to the young pharmacists, or will be young pharmacists. There is something that is happening which is not really good enough. Most people seem to believe that I'm a pharmacist, therefore, I should just be handing big money. I'm telling you, no. We need to distinguish between the science and practice of pharmacy, particularly the commercial. Most time in school, just like during our own time, we didn't know much about the commercial practice. I don't know now, but I know then, mostly because our teachers are not in practice themselves. It is not likely that you will have a grasp of those practice elements, those practice items, as at the time you are graduating. What that means that you graduate into a college, and this is the college of practice, and you need to pay your due. Before I joined Roche Nigeria Limited in 1988, I was earning 1,000 naira per month in a pharmaceutical store. I'm not lying, 1,000 naira per month. And guess what? I was the king of boys as at that time. Because the friends around me are teachers who are earning less. So most of them will call me and say, is it true that you are earning 1,000 naira a month? And things like that. That will show you how good our currency has been at the time. Because with 1,000 naira, I can rent a flat. I wasn't married, but I can eat and eat well. I'm entitled to 1 or 2 bottles of Gouda at any time I want. That was when I was taking those things now. You are laughing. I told you have to pay your due. There's a trajectory, so you go through this trajectory and you become better. When I left that place and I joined Roche, my first salary was 10 naira. Hello. I did some training last week. Thank God I stopped who on my payslip. So I took it to them. I said, look at my payslip. But the time I spent with that company changed who I am. And it's one reason why I'm before you today. Because of training, capacity development. There's nothing I cannot sell wherever I want to do it. Or system that I cannot work. I'm proud to say I'm a trained strategist. Yeah. And an expert in leadership development. That was a problem. We didn't teach me that in pharmacy school. Yeah, we picked it up as part of the work. And that is why we say, seek revelation and revenue will follow. That's a fact. So, when you come out of school, the challenge is not the quantum of naira that you want to earn. It's about where you are going to be developed, how you are going to build skills, expertise, competencies. And these are the things that will determine your market value. Oh, you want to employ me now? I'm available. But hey, you need to pay my price. Oh yeah. Why? I've paid my due. I'm not a person that you will be telling this is your job. No, once I've accepted, even if I don't know, within limited time I get to know. And I will deliver. Therefore, part of the problem we are having now is have you moved faster than them? Human capital deficit. Because one, I don't know how many pharmacists want to stay in production now. Because why? The money is not so big. But some of our generation who started in production, they're looking at those of us in marketing with envious eyes. Why? We are driving 504. You know, we have car, can move around and stuff like that. And with some social advantage. But they are in production, they are not being paid. But they learn how to convert, which I don't know till today. And many of them started their own and they are doing well, I tell you. They are doing very well. So you need to pick those core skills that will make you to have money. The only thing your certificate says is that the holder of this document has the knowledge to practice as a pharmacist. Nothing more. Now, when you are employed, what can you do? Most of the people, when they come for interview, and we ask them, so how much do you want to earn? They are quick to tell you 1 million naira a month. Okay, fine. So what will you do? Then arguments. Whatever the company want me to do. So why don't you take whatever the company want to pay? How come you know how much you want to earn, but you don't know what you want to do? Because I know you know nothing to do. Train you. We have to support you for the next 6 months or 1 year before you start bringing value to us. That means you can dictate to me how much to pay you. But when you become an expert, you dictate your money. I hope I'm speaking to somebody. A friend asked me to give you a message, and I promise him I will give you the message. I'm talking to the young ones now. The Vitamin D is good, but it's not a replacement for all these things that we are talking about. So please keep your eyes open. What makes us pharmacists is about that expertise in drug. And it has a wide application. He also asked me to tell you that the stethoscope is not a symbol of pharmacy. That you should not derive pleasure on hanging stethoscope in your head. No, that belongs to someone else. What belongs to you is that depth of pharmacy, knowledge of drugs, for which you alone is the expert. Am I speaking to you? Very good. Now let's look at the economic and public health significance of industrial pharmacy. In terms of public health, pharmaceutical industry ensure consistent access to essential quality assured medicines. You know, one WHO DG once said, that's Dr. Hirose Nakajima. He said, without drug, a health system has no substance and no credibility. What that means, drugs, medicines, give substance and credibility to healthcare system. And look at it. It is a tool that transfers the knowledge of the physician to a tangible benefit to the patient. That is it. Because the doctor sees the diagnosis, he sees what is wrong and things like that, and he sees that, okay, if I apply this drug, it's going to correct what is wrong. So we gave the patient the drug, and the patient used it and is better. Oh, that physician is great. I want you to note this and be proud of your profession. In terms of economic impact, look at it. I brought something for you. The top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world have a combined turnover of 559.6 billion. Just follow me. I have their names: Johnson & Johnson, Roche, Merck & Co., Pfizer, and on and on. The top 3 have a combined turnover of 211.78 billion. You will see what this man saying. Let's now go to Nigeria. Nigeria's total budget is 54.99 trillion, which is about 36.6 billion. That means one company has a turnover that is equivalent of more than 2 times of Nigeria's budget. Because the number one company, which is Johnson & Johnson, has a turnover in 2023 of $85.2 billion. Yes, dollars. Nigeria's budget currently being operated is 36.6 billion. What does that mean? Johnson & Johnson could well say, okay, Nigeria, just don't do anything for 1 year, I give you that 36.6 billion. What it means, okay, let's go down. Our GDP is 187.64 billion. GDP. And you know what GDP means? Total production, everything combined. Okay? 187.64 billion. But Nigerian pharmaceutical sector is only contributing about 0.55% of that 187.64 billion. What that means is that if we focus, what makes these top companies to do what they are doing? Research. You see what happened during COVID? Pfizer was the one to come up with the vaccine. Do you know how much money they make? Malaria, that is endemic with us. To come down with malaria, I say you need about 4 infective bites or so of mosquito. But here we are, all of us. We are exposed to about 250,000 infective bites per year. Malaria is part of us. It's a Nigerian, so to say. But we have been trying to deport it all along. Therefore, Professor Bamero, Professor Kazim, and others, we're never going to have our own anti-malaria engineers to us that we can now give to other parts of the world, and we'll be able to have companies making this kind of turnover. These are challenges that we should be looking at, and for us to know what to do. Then, if we are able to produce our own drug, then we become independent. Prospects. Let me tell you straight line. The land is green. The land is green. And when I say the land is green, you can take it figuratively if you like. And green land means that you could cultivate and get something good out of it. But what you are doing now, the pharmaceutical industry, industrial pharmacy, is a huge potential. You that are in school now, you will still come and make a lot of money out of it. So depending on your focus, the land is green. And what are those drivers that make it? I can give you the value of the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria today. It's valued at approximately 3 billion and is projected to grow to 3.6 billion next year. But again, I've told you about statistics. It's a problem to us. It's much more. Recently, I got to know some company that we didn't even give any idea to. How much money that they are making as turnover. So if all this turnover, if they are shared, especially those regular ones, if they are shared, I'm sure it will be more than what we are talking about here. Then there's a lot of informal market in the industry. A lot of informal activities going on. Do you know how much money is exchanging hand in Idumota every day? Or in Onitsha? Or in Kano? Huge amount of money. But we don't have those ones. So, the catalyst, government policy. And let's take politics out of it now. The current government is doing things that, if it continues, and if we seize the opportunity by both hands, can change the narrative for the pharmaceutical industry. They have the Unlocking Pharmaceutical Value Chain unit, and they are doing a lot that I know. They are doing a lot. So, government policy is helping, infrastructural development, establishment of pharmaceutical industrial park. This time yesterday, I was in a place called Alaro City. Alaro City in Nepe, in Ogun State. I was shocked to see the plan there. Some people came and they are partnering with Lagos State government. I think they have about 2,000 hectares of it. And their plan is, hey, bring your company. You don't need to bother about power, about water, about anything. And it's a free trade zone, or what they call it. So you don't even pay anything until you send the goods out before you start paying. We went round, and I saw that there is a future for this country. But it depends on your vision. What are you seeing? Are you seeing the cup as half empty or half full? Infrastructural development, I told you. Human capital development, yes, it's growing. You must have learned about what Codex is doing now. I want you to say it. And I want you to encourage other companies to do it. You need to reach out to Professor Kazim. I told you, industry is engaged in existential battle. So if you sit down here and you're expecting them to come, they may not come. But if you have a parley with them, and there are channels to which you can have such parleys, then there can be specialized skill development. There will be a cost. And like I told you, you could put a price on it. So that it depends on whoever wants it, then you pay for it. There are opportunities everywhere. Technology and innovation, this is going on now. Everything, artificial intelligence is changing everything. Improved financing, yes. I don't know, I've not benefited from this at least. I'm still borrowing money at 6%. And that's the crazy thing. And I'm supposed to compete with a gentleman in India who's borrowing money at 4% or 6%. But there was a time CBN did something and some people benefited. Particularly some big manufacturing companies, they benefited. So I hope with time, things will start changing. Now let's come home. Role of academia and research. Creams, ointments, and some liquids. Some liquid. Even if you decide that paracetamol is crowded, but you could pick one of the other mixtures that you can start with. And that reminds me of one thing I have in mind to sell to you. I wish the PSN is here, and that, like Prof said, I think we need to work more with the pharmaceutical society. I know Ogun State government had gateway pharmaceuticals before, which did not work eventually. We know why it did not work, because it's government business. Government business is everybody's business, and everybody's business is nobody's business, is it not? Because when Gateway was set up, I was still in Roche then. Certainly one of the best in terms of facilities. Yes, because what's the name of the psychiatrist, the mentor of our psychiatrists, Lambo. Yeah, Professor Lambo came to meet our MD that time, and there was a management visit to Gateway Pharmaceutical. And we all came back to just be saying, wow, they have everything and things like that. But we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The state government has the resources. Like the Alaro city that I told you I went yesterday, is 40% owned by Lagos State government. But it's managed by the experts in the business. Experts in the business. The state only have representation on the board. It can happen again. Even if it is just the simple drugs that is being used in Ogun State hospitals. You can find a way to have a manufacturing outfit, but not managed by government, but managed by experts, and that can be a collaboration between the academics, the society, and government. We can start to have some discussion along that side, and we see how things will be evolving and change for us. Finally, for me, my dear colleagues, I told you the land is green, but the thing is that you have to cultivate it before it can yield fruits for you. So there is no shortcut. Oh, you want to do shortcut? Fine. I have a driver. Within minutes of me leaving the car, he will have slept. And so one day I came to him. What do you want to do for a living? You want to steal? Go and steal now, so that you can use the money, because very soon you are going to be caught. And when you are caught, nobody is going to have mercy on you. Pay your due, things will work for you. Remember, there are pharmacists. You hear of Professor Liri Bale, he's heading a school, business school. He's a pharmacist. He was pharmaceutical director in Pfizer. Oh yeah, that is the versatility of the education that you are having. You talk about Dr. Osika, chairman of Access Bank. Hey, come on. The world is before you. But hey, you have to pay your due. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Students, no exam. no promotion. And from time immemorial, we know that hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide will always give us what? Sodium chloride and water, even before you are born. If you still have that behind your mind or what you are stagnant. So embrace the entrepreneurship skill so that you can expand your scope. On this note, I want to call on the Dean of Faculty of Pharmacy to give the closing remark.
Praise the Lord. I want to thank our guest speaker this morning for the stimulating, what is it called, lecture. I think it crosses from the lecturers down to the students, and those who are not even within the space of Faculty of Pharmacy. Actually, I think they've benefited from the lecture this morning. He said something about natural products, pharmacognosy. You see, I have some reservation concerning cognosy. You understand? And my reservation is due to the fact of how the raw materials can always be gotten. How you can always be gotten. You see, if I have a plant now, if that plant is not, I don't have a forest glaze of it. We don't have a plantation of it. You may not be able to have continuous supply of that plant in case you want to go into production. That is one of the reservations I normally have. But maybe because I am into natural products, I like isolating the active constituent from plants, characterizing it, elucidating it before it goes into formulation. And that is actually, and I was in Glasgow in 2003, University of Strathclyde, where I work on natural product. I discovered a novel drug that time, which was even more powerful than fluconazole, which was used as a standard control that time. It was more powerful than fluconazole. And I came back to Nigeria with that substance. But how to go about patenting it, how to go about working more, because you have to also told us about molecular modifications, that maybe if you do some molecular modifications, you may have a jackpot where you can get more money. I think there are a lot of problems associated with real R&D with university. So those are the things that actually one of the problem hindering our, what's it called, flying to the sky. You know that the knowledge are not there. The knowledge we acquire, knowledge even some travel to UK, to America, and all that. After coming back to Nigeria, some of these things you cannot. You don't have instruments. That, for example, you have the NMR. You can't do structural elucidation without NMR, without MS, without IR. You can't do it. There's no way you can do it. But how many universities in Nigeria have that? So if we are going back to natural product, it's like we are going back to our forefathers' method, which the white men have navigated away from. They've gone away, and that's why they are making billions from isolated compounds, from plants, and we are not going to that. We want to start formulating the plant, formulating. I don't think that to get raw materials to continue producing that is an issue that actually I think is facing us. So I want to commend our guest speaker today. He has done very, very well. Let's give a round of applause to him again. Let's applaud him again. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I want to tell you that we appreciate your coming. And even just as he said, he was talking to me when it came to my mind initially that I should call him for this annual lecture. It was when we were just talking, I told him, please, let him be coming, and he did not object. He said he will come, and just within 2 or 3 weeks, he's here. So we want to thank you greatly, Dr. Olojo, and Madam, for allowing him, even for preparing the note with him. we appreciate you. Thank you, and God bless you. I pray for more advancement. You say you're already cultivating. More, the Lord will be lifting you more and more. And whatever be your desire, the Lord will grant to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, the Dean. Our guest lecturer, we want to thank you once again. While talking, you said you had over 40 students or 40 people working in your establishment. These are students here, will be coming very soon. Please embrace them. Thank you very much. Now I want to call on the Chairman Planning Committee, the person of Dr. S.A. Saka, for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Well, we want to appreciate God for this beautiful day. On behalf of the Dean, Faculty of Pharmacy, Olabisi Onabanjo University, the staff and the students of the faculty, we want to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to the guest speaker of today, Dr. Lulu Ujo. The last time when I was in the university, Obafemi Awolowo University, he used to visit us, I think once or twice. Then I met him as an undergraduate. That was the 1993, 94. Yeah. So since then I've known him. So we want to appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule to honor this our invitation at the shortest period. So we appreciate you and we thank you for coming. Also, his beautiful wife. I didn't actually look at her. So thank you, ma'am, for coming. Also, we want to appreciate that friend of pharmacy. He's a friend of pharmacy. I can say it anywhere. Professor Ayuade, for taking time to attend this. You are welcome, and we appreciate your coming. We also want to thank all of us, the members of staff, students too. I hope and I believe that you must have gained one thing or the other from this presentation. So I appreciate you, and some of you that were forced to come here, I'm sure you will not, definitely, by this time you won't have any regrets coming to this place. So I appreciate you. I know the time is, your time is actually tight, this preparing for in courses, but it is also an in course. So I appreciate you, and I pray that in the next 2 weeks when you're facing your examination, you will all pass the exam. Thank you, and God bless.
Once all the head of departments, the professors, and the people on the high table here for a group photograph. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you.
stopped.
Standing,